Hello, it's Time Community. I'm so happy to be back with y'all today. We are doing one of the episodes where Jen and I are in different locations. This seems to be our theme between the spring travel and going into summer travel and all the great work that Dr. Jen is doing on behalf of Canyon Ranch. But I am coming to you live from today from Southern California. So I'm tucked in here again at a little cute Airbnb. And what I wanted to make sure to share with you today, as Dr. Jen and I were thinking about all the work that we're kind of navigating in the months ahead, as well as what this 2026 year has kicked off and felt like, we wanted to put on offer to you a little bit of a toolkit. And so we think of this as our mindset gym or our quick mindset toolkit. We know we've shared a lot of practices around how to think about building your mindset and building kind of your positive outlook on life and your resilience. And we've talked a lot about the science around why that's worth you spending time doing. But this is more with a filter of kind of quick and dirty, like when you just need a reset or you just need to reach for something in your mindset gym and your toolkit. What are physical things you can have at hand, and then what are practices that you can have kind of quick to pull? So on the physical front, one thing, if you just think about trying to reset how your mindset feels or how your outlook feels, a touch point or a physical set of activities can be something that helps move your internal set point as well. So that's why we talk about a physical touch point. So things like the fidget spinners and the sensory kind of hand and squeeze kind of tools and toys, and then also just soft fabrics and soft pillows or soft blankets or soft jackets or soft sweaters. Anything that's really soft to the touch can help soothe your vagal nervous system and think about trying to kind of bring your stress levels down or your cortisol down. So if you can have a fidget toy or a squeezy ball or something that you're wearing that's soft, or something you can reach for like a pillow that's soft in your workspace, those can be physical things. Some other things that are just in the physical carry around with you scoop is like protein bars and water bottles and things that help you hydrate and get the nutrient dense things we need when we're feeling stressed. So just having a small little baggie of a couple of those, either protein bars, beef sticks, which are not ever perfect because it's processed foods, but they have quick protein, or some of these, like, I think they're pronounced oikos. They're little small yogurts that have great protein and great digestive health in them. So that you can pre-pack a little lunch bag size that just to have with you in your car or again in your workspace. That would give you the physical energy that you needed to help you bring back your mindset and recalibrate. Some other sensory reset things you can always think about are those essential oils that you rub on, little candles, things that really just bring scent and sentience to your environment, your physical environment. I've found lately that I'm also doing a lot more, especially because we're in the season of spring, a lot more fresh plants and having small fresh plants in my environment so that I can kind of have a nature reset when I'm stuck inside working on things. And then another very tangible, practical thing you can have is like an index card with whatever you want to be trying to reinforce in your rewiring. It could be 3 personal wins for the day you've created into a physical card. It could be affirmations you want to remind yourself. Right now I'm working on golf, and so I'm trying to remind myself things about golf affirmations that I want to try to rewire in my brain. It could be things like 3 or 4 habits you want to make sure you get done every day. So it could be your hydration, it could be get outside, it could be take a 5-minute walk. So that's a physical thing to just put in your hand that you can carry with you as part of your physical toolkit. And I guess the last one that's still kind of in the physical toolkit world are things like an herbal tea or something that is a calming, soothing timeout for you to have as a drink. And it could be, the herbal teas are so great because they're warm and smooth. But if you're looking for something cooler in the summertime, you can, figure out what is the cool equivalent of that. But it's something that when you sip it, you immediately are like, okay, I'm just taking a 5-minute break right now. So those are things in the physical toolkit. If we think about it more like from the practices toolkit, we organize these as Dr. Jen and I talk about them and kind of on a one-on-one deep dive in a myriad of ways, but there are a couple of new ones that we've wanted to add in and put on invitation to you. So we'll get into the science of each one of these as well. But when we think about these are practices that you can grab and you can spend 5 minutes on them, or you can spend an hour, just really depending upon what you get out of them, what joy or what relief you get out of them, or what time you have available. But they're all on offer for the quick and dirty. I just need 2 or 3 minutes to reset, or the let's take a deeper dive. Let's take a once a week touch point on each one of these. So there are going to be 7 practices we talk about right here. The first one, Dr. Jen and I have done whole episodes on this, but we just wanted to revisit it. Uh, One, to put it on offer for a way for you to simplify it if you decided not to take it on because it just seemed like too much. So the first one is really bookending your days. So thinking about your morning routine and thinking about your evening routine. And you can think about it in just very 5 minute type increments. So if it's the morning anchor, just take 5 minutes right when you open your eyes to tell yourself it's going to be a good day, to physically kind of squeeze your fingertips or kind of make a little fist or roll your feet on your ankles, physically wire in the idea as you're telling yourself mentally, this is going to be a great day. And that takes like a minute. You can also just take 3 deep breaths in your bed before you even get out of your bed and trying to reset your body to get ready to embrace the day, and also physically smile before you get out of the bed. So you can close your eyes, take those breaths, take a big smile, and just say it's going to be a great day. And then get out of the bed before you start to get into your phone and get into your coffee and your walking routine, having reset your brain and told your brain the kind of day you want to have right before you get going in the day. Same thing on the evening. If you can, on the reverse side of it, just have that journal by the side of your bed. Dr. Jen talks a lot about how she has sticky notes on the side of her bed, just to kind of write down all the stuff that you want to make sure you get out of your brain so it doesn't wake you up in the middle of the night. And it could be a brain dump of to-dos. It can also be a brain dump of 3 things that went well and physically writing that. But just have that by your bedside or wherever it is you do your wind down routine at night, and kind of close the night and call it a day with a physical brain dump on a piece of paper about getting the to-dos out and getting the wins out, or the things that went really well out, and getting them physically written down. So that's the down and dirty morning routine. Just kind of an evening routine, kind of as a reminder when you wake up, you're coming into your day, and the primary goal of that morning routine is to reset your neuroscience and your neurochemistry around soothing serotonin, oxytocin, instead of jumping it right into a cortisol spike or an adrenaline spike. So if you could think about more than a 2 minute routine, the things on the morning routine that are on offer are, as a reminder, getting outside. So getting the 5 minute outside sunlight walk, kind of getting outside, it resets your retina and it sends a direct signal through your eyes in the master clock of your brain. I think it's called the super chiasmatic, not charismatic, chiasmatic nucleus. So it'll stop the melatonin production that's happening, reset your day to say it's morning, it's time to get up, starts a really natural timer for sleep later in the night, and then triggers just a little bit of cortisol release to let your body know to release the grogginess and the sleepiness that's in your system. The second thing that you can do in the morning is to really do that hydration and that hydration reset. And a lot of times you might want to target half of your daily hydration in that early part of the morning, mostly because you want to get it in and get the energy and the kind of energetic kicker that you get from the water in. But also just because as we think about how things go over the decades, if we're trying to get it in late at night, probably waking ourselves up, going to the bathroom a lot. So trying to get as much as you can in the first 2 or 3 hours of your day can be energy benefit and save you for the night's sleep later. And we do, as a reminder, we do wake up dehydrated. So dehydration kind of makes your body feel like you're in a state of anxiousness and anxiety. So fatigue and lightheadedness. And so in midlife, especially, our cellular health really needs that hydration. So, put that big bottle of water out the night before and then try to get through it in your morning routine to really get the hydration kicking. And then the last thing kind of in that morning routine that we've mentioned in a couple of different conversations about mindset work is carving out whatever it is, 10 minutes for a combination of either some mindfulness, some gratitude checklist, something that kind of centers your brain on, taking a breath and really wiring yourself to be open and receptive and a positive, energetic start for your day. So, a lot of people do it with meditation. Some people do it with prayer. I do it with a combination of meditation and a gratitude journal. Dr. Jen does it with a little bit of kind of affirmation and mantra setting that she's talked about, and meditation is not her thing. So just think of it more as a time investment than a specific practice to do, with the objective being to give yourself a chance to come into your day on your own terms and start to kind of wire your brain for how you want to go through that day. So that's a little bit of that morning routine. And then at the nighttime routine, in addition to taking the physical reset and trying to write down things that you want to get out of your brain before you go to bed, we always remember that 3-2-1 rule of stop eating 3 hours before bedtime, stop working 2 hours before bedtime, and if you can, get off your screens an hour before bedtime. So That's the morning and the evening bookend. The second thing, if you talk about little practices and mindset practices you can take with you, that again, we've done deeper dives on, but a reminder on how to access this if you just got 30 seconds is really all around breath work. So we've read a lot and heard a lot about how much breath work helps reset your mindset, reset your neurochemistry, reset your nervous system. And so a lot of times it's like, well, what does that mean? I don't have 30 minutes to breathe right now. And so the quick breaths, the 4-4-4 box breathing. So when you inhale for a count of 4 is what's common practice. Hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4. That box breathing, you can do that 3 rounds, and the science says you will reset your nervous system. So if you need to do that after a meeting or you're going into something that you want to try to lower your heart rate for, the box breathing is quick and dirty. Also related to this is something that's called the physiological sigh. So it's like a 10-second thing you can do. It's just if you get this wave of like overwhelm or anxiety or irritability, your breath becomes shallow. So the physiological sigh is a super fast and clinically proven way to down regulate your nervous system in real time. So what do? You take 2 quick inhales through your nose. I've got kind of a stuffed up nose right now, so I don't know if I want to do that for y'all right here, but take 2 inhales through your nose, one really deep, like super deep inhale, and then one really sharp, like just a little bit off the top of it. So it's like you take a big inhale and then you sniff a little more at the end of it. So take 2 of those and then you let out a really long, slow exhale. And this one you let out through your mouth. And Dr. Jen and I have talked a lot about how important it is to do nose breathing and not mouth breathing. But this is just a very tactical, physical thing of inhaling through your nose, one deep, one short, and exhaling through your mouth. And the reason this works, if you do it like once or 2 to 3 times, is it immediately pops these little tiny air sacs in your lungs and triggers your heart rate to slow down. So it shifts you out of that fight or flight mentality. So that's a quick way to get into breath work with 10 seconds. If you don't have time to do a big box breathing routine, just do the physiological sigh. And that's the way you can kind of bring that heart rate down, maybe kind of diffuse a little bit of the cortisol and come back into your balance. On the box breathing, you can do 1 round, 2 round, 3 rounds, but it's like, I think it's the Navy SEALs that really brought that science to life around how Navy SEALs and first responders maintain their focus when they're going into these supercharged environments is this box breath routine. So morning and evening bookends, number 1, and then breathing, number 2. Number 3, we've referenced this a little bit in the morning routine and the evening routine, but this is just the idea, we call it list it. Just list it. So what does that mean? It means take 30 seconds or 1 minute to list. Again, the science is around physically writing it. If you don't have a way to physically write it, you can try doing it as an audio note, maybe on your phone, but you take the effort to list in a way that's recording it for your brain. Handwriting best, audio note is a way to do it too, and just list things that are in the box of positive. So it could be gratitude, it could be wins for the day, it could be things that make you laugh, it could be things that you find joy in, but you're basically telling your brain something that gives you a positive neurochemistry kicker and recording it in a way that you prioritized your brain to focus on it. So this is a quick thing to do. List it. You can carry a little journal with you. You can do it again audio wise. You can type it on your phone if that's what you got to do, but try, if you can, to find a way to physically write it down and list these things that are positive. Why? It's because you are rewiring your brain to the positive aspects of life and reducing stress, reducing the focus on the things that are causing that stress. So you can do it any time of day. Always fun to do it at the very end of the day because you're trying to wire that and have that be in your brain as you're going into that great recharging state. So that's number 3, list it. Number 4 is get out. And, we hear a ton about the benefits of nature, especially awesome right now as we're getting into summer. This is kind of 3 or 4 get outside practices that you can do when you have 2 minutes. I mean, we all love the idea of going on a huge bike ride and a big hike. A lot of us have time to schedule that in our day, but a lot of us don't, unless it's Saturday or Sunday. And even then, maybe it's overwhelming with what we have to get done at the house or with the family. So just because you can't do a big dose of outside, please give yourself permission and give yourself the impetus to get a little dose of the outside every single day. So a 5-minute walk, we talked about awe in one of our last conversations. And so the awe walk, the 5-minute awe walk is an easy way to do that. Get outside and be in awe of the things you see. Gratitude walk, same thing. Here comes gratitude again. Then there's also like a sensory grounding walk. And so this is one where you get yourself out of your head and your noise by walking outside and closing your eyes, smelling, feeling, listening. Then you can open your eyes and see what you see. But it's a way to get you back into your senses and your body and out of some of the noise in your head. And you can do it in 5 minutes. Just step outside, even if it's like your backyard, or take a quick lap around the office building and do, think of it like a 3, 2, 1 sensory check. Three things that you see, two things that you can physically feel, like the wind or the sun, or maybe a little bit of a breeze, and then one thing you can hear. And it gets you out of that vibration mode and into your senses and back again, kind of lowers your overall anxiety and stress levels. A bigger one, if you have more time in the get outside world, is this idea of earthing in nature. And so, the basic concept is to walk around barefoot or as close to barefoot as you can outside. There are also earthing mats that I think we've talked about in one of our other episodes that help you bring this inside. But basically, it's an old practice. It dates back like millennia. It can be traced like to Chinese medicine. I think the Native American cultures have had it. Ayurveda, Indian cultures have had it. The idea is really to get your physical self, your feet, onto the earth to absorb the ions and the ion charges that are part of the natural electricity currents through the earth. So it's like it could be 20 or 30 minutes a day where you're outside walking. I mean, there are people who actually, they jog in bare feet. I feel like that might be kind of painful, but you could also just walk around out in your garden, walk around out on the pavement, or you can get a grounding mat, which is plugged into your wall. It's like plugged into the electrical current and you're barefoot on that. So I've got one underneath my office chair. Some people have them in like a pillowcase format. They sleep on them. So that the why is it's around increasing your overall energy, kind of increasing your HRV, decreasing your stress levels. And it can be a 2 minute practice or it could be up to a 30 or 45-minute practice. But the idea is that this influx of free electrons, like the Earth's surface is carrying continuous, natural, mildly negative electrical charge, and it's got super, super, super robust richness in free electrons. So in our modern life, things like wearing shoes or living insulated indoors actually kind of insulate us from these charges. So when you make direct skin contact with the earth, your body absorbs these electrons and that equalizes your electrical potential with the earth. So that is a way to get outside and feel like maybe you're getting an energetic benefit beyond just being outside and being in the sunshine. It helps neutralize oxidative stress or free radicals, and normalizes your metabolism. The science around this is ancient and old, so it's like anecdotal. And then there's some newer science that's a smaller subset around, actually being able to measure these results. So if it feels good to you and you're doing it, just fantastic. If it feels crazy and you're not really getting any joy out of it, don't do it. But it's an easy way to get sunshine and outdoors and then also feel like you're actually kind of mitigating some of the modern day environmental toxins that we're all absorbing. I think a lot of the clinical trials, when they measure this, they measure that around HRV, and it's around kind of a 10 to 20-minute duration where they see the positive impact on your HRV when you're doing the outdoor barefoot walking or grounding or, working in your garden if you're a gardener. Okay, let's see. Is there anything else on grounding? No, that is it. So outside, lots of ways to be outside. And if you can do it, be barefoot. It's summertime. Get out there and give yourself a 2-for-1 by implementing the earthing or the grounding component as well. So that was number 4, getting outside. Number 5 is a broader idea. And when Dr. Jen and I have talked about it in a number of different contexts, it really kind of coalesces around this idea of reframing, just reframing what it is you're looking at. So it could be if you're having physical pain, then you're reframing it as kind of a body, a system check-in. And instead of kind of thinking about how to get rid of this pain, reframing it and thinking, what is my body trying to tell me? And then trying to address what is your body trying to tell you. It's a slight reframing and it gives you mental distance between the pain you're feeling and wanting to get released from it versus looking at it and saying, I'm trying to learn from this. And what is it that I need to change my behavior? And it starts to diffuse the intensity of the pain and puts you kind of back in the role of less reactive and more driver's seat when you're trying to navigate physical pain, which we've all had to do at some point in time, especially as we hit certain decades. So it's a way to reframe that kind of physicality. The other thing to really to take advantage of in midlife is to reframe things as we're getting into problem solving or stressor situations and reaching through your life experience and kind of reframing it as a lived wisdom. So, naming your wisdom and actually calling out what your experience have taught you gives you a little bit of a power play internally when you're trying to catch all the stressors that are coming to you. So, reframing how you respond with a sense of intuitive trust that you have wisdom to deploy, you have decades that are informing that, and give yourself an extra beat to absorb the challenge, and then reframing how you respond to it as coming at it as a wise, your own wise mentor instead of a reactive problem solver. And then another reframing tool, like when you're in the massive challenge right now, like we all have. I think you've heard me talk about some of the ones that are going on in our family dynamics, but whether it's helping with my mom with her kind of aging challenges and sort of the life issues that are there. One of the really powerful reframes that I've been using in that context is getting out of the have to mindset and getting into the get to mindset. And so instead of feeling like I have to go do this, I have to take care of that, I have to fix this, I think about it more and more, and I speak about it internally more and more as I get to go spend time on this, I get to help on this. Because if you're deciding to do the thing, then by definition, you've decided to do it. And framing it as something that's an energy suck from you doesn't serve you well, and it doesn't serve the thing you're trying to get done well. So it's a slight semantic shift, but it's the idea of when we're doing hard things, even if they're not things we always want to do, by definition, we're choosing to do them for whatever reason, because we need a job and we need to pay a bill, or we're taking care of a family member, or we're doing a hard workout, or whatever it is that is more in the unpleasant camp than pleasant camp. Still, underneath it all, you're in choice. And so giving yourself that sense of power domain and reframing your language about it into I get to do it instead of I have to do it is a natural cortisol diffuser. It helps kind of rewire your nervous system and going through the task. So it's just a semantics opportunity to do a quick change. And then kind of related to that reframing is this idea of a power pause. I think this was a Harvard neuroscientist, Jill Taylor, who noted that when a person has like a reaction to a trigger, there's this 90-second chemical process that happens in your body. So anything that happens is intensified in those 90 seconds. Any remaining emotional response after that 90 seconds is really just you deciding to extend the response. So what that means is that, yes, we react when something stressful happens or sad or makes us angry, but the reaction is really only 90 seconds in terms of the instinctive reaction. Letting it go longer is a choice. And so you can intercept that and just say, okay, this 90-second rule means I've given myself the 90 seconds. And if I want to continue to feel whatever the thing is, angry, stressed, frustrated, I'm choosing to. My neurochemistry is not forcing that. So it gives you the power seat again to intercept and decide if you want to extend that feeling or if you want to take the 90-second rule, take the power pause, break, try the physiological sigh, try the breath work, and try to intercept that negative neurochemistry so that it doesn't diffuse even more into your day. We talked about this in one of our prior episodes. It's called a PQ practice, where you can tap your fingers or squeeze your hands as a way to physically meditate when you can't drop into a meditative state. So if one of those trigger events happens and you've got that 90-second kickoff of negative energy and neurochemistry and you intercept it, one way to pause and kind of get that interception at the 90-second mark is to do this physical fingertip squeeze, or squeezing your palms, or rotating your feet on your ankles again if you're doing it under the table. So that's all around little tools to help support the reframing idea. And we talked in a prior episode, and we can bring it back up again, about how much your internal language affects your external environment and your external energy. So reframing encapsulate all of that, so the idea of using the I am language when you want to fill it in the blank with something super positive or super uplifting to etch, and to use the words I feel when you're trying to process things that are more of energy drains or more of a negative impact, to use I feel versus I am. Some other things to remember in that language, I think I mentioned golf earlier in this episode, is when things go wrong in something you're trying to do, golf is a great example because things go wrong a ton, to be super mindful that you say things like, that was a bad shot, not I always hit bad shots, I'm not a good putter. It's like that shot didn't go where I wanted it to go. So you don't like stuff it down and ignore something bad that happened. Something bad happened. That wasn't where you wanted to hit the ball. So your brain knows when you're lying and you're like, okay, it's okay. It's not okay. That didn't go where you wanted it to go. But the important reframing, or the kind of the way to filter it so that your brain gets the move forward message versus the move backwards message is, that's not the shot I wanted to hit. What I wanted to hit was, straight and to the right. I didn't want to hit the top of the ball. I wanted to hit it straight and good contact, and tell your brain what you wanted it to do, and fight the urge to internalize, I'm not good at golf. I'm not good at whatever it is you're trying. You comment on what you want to change, and then you comment on, and I am getting better, and I am trying to get better, or whatever is authentic. I am that, and wire that positive component, and then name the negative in a way that is a detached from who you are and more commenting on the actual action itself. Sorry, so that's number 5. 2 more to go. Number 6, and this is just a fun one, and Dr. Jen and I wanted to make sure, especially with summer, that we keep it as a toolkit idea as well, is to really prioritize play. So get out there and play a little bit every day, a micro dose of joy. You deserve it. You deserve more than a micro dose, but a micro dose we can all get done. So to just be waiting for the weekend or waiting for a vacation to play is like, obviously super burnout. So what do? Just take 10 minutes and figure out what is your microdose of play. It could be dancing around in your house. It could be walking outside. Maybe the earthing thing feels really fun for you or energizing. It could be sitting and writing some lyrics with a candle next to you. But get intentional about defining what feels like real play to you and giving yourself 10 minutes on the calendar every day for it. 10 minutes, we can do that. But the amplification and the benefits of that are huge. So what is your play? I'm going to challenge us all to think about that. Maybe send us an email or put it in the comments. Like, what are your 3 kinds of play, and get it into the daily routine. 10 minutes, you can do it. It reminds your brain that your identity is more than just your outcomes and what you are responsible to for other people. So microdose of play. And then Dr. Jen would never be happy if we did not have this in an episode. And that is number 7, which could be always number 1, is how to effectively rest and recharge. Rest and recharge are super critical for any mindset toolkit. And we've talked about sleep. We know all of the different sleep hygiene, but there are ways to do that even in your day-to-day. The 5-minute nap, the 5-minute pause, they are replicating the idea of rest and unplug in a quick access way. Rest is a performance tool. It protects your brain, your heart, your hormones, your mood. We know sleep is a recovery tool. We know it's mission critical, but in a quick acting toolkit kind of way, what can you do? You can pull in the physiological sigh. You can pull in the 5 to 15 minute nap. I'm a huge fan of those. And then you can also think about rest in terms of how you interact with yourself, and give the hardcore, productivity drive, internal assessment a rest. Give that a rest, and instead do some radical self-compassion and check in. Like, when you're feeling frustrated or when you're feeling overextended, what would I say to my dear friend who was feeling this way? What would I say to them? What would I say to her? What would I say to my child who was feeling this way? What would I say to my partner? And say it to yourself. Give yourself that same kind of radical compassion. We are almost always kinder to everyone else than we are to ourselves. So this is an invitation and permission for you to be as kind to yourself as you are to the rest of the world, if not more so. So those are the 7 kind of tools to have on your tool belt. They can be long practices, but there's a shortened version that you can always do as well. Start and end your day, great. That's your bookends, number 1 and number 2. Think about your breathing, because that's something you can always pull out. It's free. You could do it in 10 seconds. That physiological sigh is really quick. Get your lists on, your list of 3 things that are fill in the blank. You're grateful for, you're excited about, you feel proud of, something in the positive category. Give your list of 3. Get outside, and that can be 5 minutes. It can be 30 seconds. Just get outside and maybe go barefoot while you're doing it. Number 5 was to really think about how to reframe your language, how to reframe how you look at things that are going to be inevitable external events that can impact your internal state of calm. So reframing tools, and there are quick ways to get there. Have to versus get to, I feel versus I am. All of those are just linguistic tools that you can start to incorporate. Number 6 is prioritize the play. And number 7, rest and recharge. And you don't have to wait till you go to bed to do that. You could take a little rest and recharge through your day. So hopefully it's a mindset toolkit that you can pull out and you can use it when you need a 1 minute reset across any of those 7 levers. And then the physical things we talked about in the very beginning of the conversation, those are ones you can pack a little mindset bag and have with you as well. Thanks for being with me today. And I look forward to when I can be with you and Dr. Jen again at the same time. Thanks.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us here today. If you liked what you heard and you got some tips on how to live better right now and for the long haul, please help us reach more midlife women. Please share and rate and like this show. And we can't wait to continue the dialogue with you on our next episode. Until then, thank you. It's time.